So, Maya, I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about yourself and your professional background to start with.
Self and my professional background. Um, okay. Does academic background, is that included in this?
Academic background is definitely included.
Okay. Let's see. I graduated from NYU. I went to the School of Individualized Study there, which means I created my own degree program on creativity, mythology, psychology, and mysticism. And yeah, I chose to do that because I found that no conventional degree program that I could find was big or expansive enough to kind of let me explore all the ideas that were coming up for me, all the things that interest me. So I chose to go that route, and I had a lot of fun, and I got to flex my brain in a way that I wouldn't have been able to before, and that was really great. Now I'm a student at the California Institute of Integral Studies in San Francisco in the online program Transformative Leadership, and it's a master's program. And one of my foci in this program has been to connect the archetypal dark goddess with transformative leadership.
Can you tell me a little bit about your work around that?
Recently I submitted a proposal to speak at a conference with some other ladies in my cohort. And the topic is called Lead by Transforming, How to Cultivate the Creative Side of Destruction in Transformative Leaders. And basically the premise is looking at how the feminine, the archetypal feminine, has been largely held unconscious, underrepresented in our own psyches as individuals and society at large. And considering that the feminine needs to be strongly taken into account for how we live, and as leaders, how we lead. And in particular, the most reviled aspect of the feminine is the quote-unquote dark goddess, or the dark feminine. Kind of the proverbial shadow or dark side that we tend to feel uncomfortable exploring. And so the idea is that in order to be a truly transformative, transformational, inspiring leader, one needs to get in touch with what it is that we've been repressing in ourselves, that feminine parts of ourselves that has been feeling scary. So basically we're going to talk about our personal experiences in kind of confronting this dark goddess within, and kind of leaving it as a way to spark conversation in people who are coming to hear us talk, so that other leaders can consider how this might be relevant for themselves as well. Where might they be feeling called by the dark goddess in whatever form she may be? Kali, for example, is one of the very well-known dark goddesses from the Hindu tradition, very fierce. So we're going to be largely thinking about her as well in this conversation.
So what would you say Kali represents to you?
Kali represents, she represents the endless and everlasting cycle of life, and in particular, that liminal space between death and rebirth. That moment right before death happens or rebirth happens, where it's kind of like going into a black hole. You can imagine, you know, you go into a black hole. Imagine you're doing it. We've never done it necessarily, but imagine you could do it. And it's like, supposedly time and space gets constricted and more constricted until a singularity, just this one tiny infinitesimal point of light, of consciousness perhaps. And then, and it's kind of like a funnel shape. I envision it as a funnel shape. You're going down and down and down and down. And I see Kali as that entire funnel, but in particular, she's that space where there's only going to be one thing left, and you have to surrender yourself to that one point of consciousness that is left within you to kind of be reborn into something else. So, yes, and Kali, she's the dark face of the mother. She's the frightening mother who cares so much that she's willing to take you down from your ego throne to show you what more there is inside of you. She's the one who takes you down into the dark places to show that even there is light down there. She is compassionate in her fury and furious in her compassion. She's the darkness inside of us that always gives way to something new.
Is there any particular incidents that got you interested in Kali?
Let's see. Well, on a less situational context, she is personally meaningful to me because she is archetypally and mythologically linked to my name, Maya. Maya is the kind of, in one way, she is her own kind of holistic form of the mother goddess in the Hindu tradition, and she's also the virginal aspect of Kali. She is the creative power, the light that gives form to the world. So you could kind of see Maya on the light end of the spectrum and Kali on the dark end of the spectrum. So in that way, Kali is very meaningful to me because she's quite literally my shadow self. And to give a very specific situation, I recently went through a very difficult time in a relationship or relationships, and as I was in one relationship and then suddenly getting myself into another one at the same time, I felt her presence very strongly. For example, just one day I was studying for school. I was sitting on the couch, and then I saw her face just all of a sudden, my my mind's eye, and I knew that what I was going through was something very big. I knew that she, the she that is me, the me that is she, was really behind this exploration and this death, because it really was one part of me dying to a new part of me. Yeah, she was kind of like the gaping void between my old life and my new one, who I was and who I'm becoming, who I am. And this was very critical in terms of this shift in relationships, because kind of the old one was like my old self, and the new one was kind of like the new self that I had been kind of burying. But yeah, Kali doesn't let you keep anything underground for too long. She is the underground, but she brings everything to light.
So would you say her appearance helped you during your transition phase, or made you face?
Oh yeah, well, she definitely got me in touch with my own anger. Kali, like I said earlier, is very much, she's a wrathful goddess. Like I said, she tries to help you transform with a compassionate attitude by using her anger or her wrath. She doesn't let anything go by the wayside. With Kali, you have to face up to everything you don't like. And so for me, anger or rage has definitely been something that I didn't like about myself. And as I was kind of in the space between my old self and my new self, I really found this rage surfacing. The most anger I've ever felt and actually expressed ever. And yeah, in situations where I felt like myself was being kind of denied its humanity, like its own recognition, that is another example of when Kali really came out of me, when I was her. And yeah, that rage kind of overtook me, and I refused to continue being treated as I was. Whereas in the past, I might have been like, okay, well, I don't want to get angry because I don't want to hurt somebody. But that's not what Kali does. She is about being angry, about expressing that anger for the good of everyone. Really, Kali teaches you that you can't actually help or heal somebody by just being nice all the time. So yeah, the rage of Kali definitely came through me and kind of helped me be more okay with who I am and be more okay with those more dark feelings